There is a lot to talk about today, so let's get started. This is going to be a two-part daily video where we've got the progression update coming out next week and then the usual daily stuff. So this is kind of an update video. That's why it's in the update playlist, but it wasn't big enough to be its own video exactly. So let's talk about what's going on. So with free-to-play coming around the corner, they've taken a closer look at in-game progression and they wanted to just make it a little smoother, especially for the end game. So loot drops will be spread out more evenly across all zones, making each find feel more meaningful. And what they mean by that are like chest drops, gifts, from trolls or whatever, encampments, and then wildlife. And I don't know exactly what that means. It could be that like purple and higher power rating items could be found in Stonewood. Maybe they're going to make the lower stuff a little weaker so that it makes it more exciting when you find better stuff later. This is really open to interpretation, and you can probably see why this isn't its own video, because we're not really sure what that means. I asked him for a clarification and got some answer, but he decided to make a public post here, which is good because some of this needs some explaining. It's very vague. So there's that. And then heroes, survivors, defenders, and schematics earned through quests and mission alerts will be granted at an appropriate level tier that match the difficulty of the completed mission. I have a guess. I assume maybe more green and gray or blue rarity heroes will be available in the lower zones. Maybe the legendary stuff is only for the end game, I guess. And that counts for quests as well. We're really not sure. You see where I'm going with this? So I feel like when this comes out, we'll be able to really dive in and get a better idea. And I keep scrolling down to this clarification because I'm going to need it in a second. So people and schematic upgrades. We're reducing the number of resource types needed to upgrade your items. They're basically merging hero and survivor XP and calling it people XP. And that'll be 1-to-1. So for every hero and survivor XP you have, it looks like that number is just going to combine. And that's how much people XP you have. So that's kind of cool. Simplification is kind of nice. I don't know if you guys have thought about this, but Epic clearly has. Hero XP and Survivor XP kind of do the same thing. One's for survivors, one's for heroes and defenders. They're basically looking at this and thinking, we don't really think that needs to be two different things, so I guess. Then weapon designs and trap designs are going to be called schematic manuals, which is basically the same thing. To those of you who have made it to the end game like me, you'll know that once you've upgraded all your basic traps, there aren't that many, and upgraded all of them to full in the collection book, trap designs literally become useless. So weapon designs, there just seems to be enough weapon designs that you're never gonna 130 every single weapon with every single element forever. You're just not. If you have, then maybe you can go outside. You earned it. You did that. Congrats. But honestly, weapon designs, I've never seen an end to using these. But yeah, trap designs eventually stop being needed. So combining them, again, kind of makes sense. I don't think we needed this, but they want to simplify it. And that makes total sense. They've got free-to-play coming out. They want to make this very complicated game as easy to understand as possible, and I don't even blame them. So there you go. Then they'll be slightly higher in Stonewood and Plankerton as a drop rate so that you can get them more often and level up your game nice and good. And I assume it'll be the same amount in the end game. It would be weird to nerf Twine. Imagine grinding Stonewood for this stuff instead of playing a Twine. So if you found a cool weapon or trap, say you kill a glowing animal and it drops it into your inventory, that's just a usable item that once it's gone, it's gone. They're basically going to take every item and trap, every weapon and trap you found throughout a mission and give you a list of those, I guess, and a schematic research token so that after the mission you can research that weapon as a schematic. I think that's a wonderful idea because right now in Save the World you've got days like today where you've just got a miscellaneous spread of schematics all throughout the missions, and if you ever wanted the Ranger, you can't really go get that. You just have to hope it spawns in one of the missions. And if you're a brand new player, you wouldn't even know what to look for. So if you kill a glowing animal, get dropped a really cool weapon, try it out, and you say you like that weapon, say you got the trash cannon from a crow, and you're like, oh, this thing rocks, it blows stuff up. Then, after the game, you can take that token they're going to introduce into the game and just get that as a schematic. That's pretty cool. That's a really sweet idea. I like that, but you can only have one token at a time. So if you get a secondary token and you hadn't used the first one, it'll automatically be spent on the highest rarity and power rating item that you got from your recent mission. So that's pretty cool. That means every single game you play, assuming you kill a glowing animal, you should be getting at least one schematic from every mission, which is really great. In the early game, that's going to be fantastic. And as you guys just heard me say, there are hundreds of weapons in this game. And I know I said that in my intro video, but it's so true. There are so many. If you just wanted to get a copy, not even multiple elements, one copy of every weapon in the game, you'll have to play dozens of rounds, hundreds of games probably. and this will just make that less, which is great. You just want to get a copy of every weapon in everybody's inventory, not necessarily a legendary copy, just a version. Maybe you got a blue, I don't know, Spectre or whatever. That wouldn't be in normal games. You know what I mean. I'm just trying to find an example. So we'll be actively reviewing progression, rewards, and mission balance. Keep a close eye on feedback. And founders, your stuff is fine. It's not changed. Okay. They're going to have to put this in every single note forever. And some clarifications, our research tokens will not be awarded for completing missions and ventures. That was the first thing myself in the stream came up with was, whoa, this is going to make ventures so viable. Oh, yeah. I'm not trying to be a hater, but I don't like ventures. I don't like not being able to use my weapons. The RNG of having to find a good weapon with usable perks is brutal, and it makes me not want to play the game mode. So yeah, anyway, loot drops from stuff like that is clarified, because loot drops is not a term that players use. I directly asked them, I'm like, what do you mean by that? Because I have guesses and they can't all be that. And then training manuals are staying because they are functionally the same. So what they're replacing is the hero and the hero and survivor. I'm sorry, I looked at that. Yeah, hero and survivor XP, not training manuals. Training manuals are going to remain the same because, as we all know, training manuals are already used on survivors, defenders, and heroes. So it kind of just simplifies things. Why do we have one manual type and two XP types? Epic went ahead and said, we don't know either. And now that's changed. So yeah, kind of a neat update. That'll be next week. Not a major change to the end game, I think, but it is pretty cool. I love the concept that it'll be simplified for new players, and as you find stuff randomly, you'll go ahead and see that. And this is just the same thing, but in more words. So, or I think the same words actually. So there you go. There you go. That's the update. Let's get into the weekly stuff and talk about what's going on. You know what? Just as a quick break, we're going to talk about shop because there's nothing to talk about. There's nothing brand new, nothing rare. Here's your daily reminder to use code Mista at your checkout if you guys want to support me with your purchase. If you ever want to be featured on the channel using my code, you're welcome to ping me in Discord. I really appreciate you guys. It goes a very, very long way. And yeah, things have been going very well. So yeah, I actually haven't made a daily video in several days. That was not intentional. So my absence was because of my personal life. I got a new girlfriend, and I'm not here to elaborate on that. I just mean, like, I literally haven't been home for a couple of days. And when I am home these last few days, it's either midnight or later, and you guys know for mental health reasons, I usually skip dailies. So it kind of just happened that I went dark for a little while before all is going on here, the free-to-play announcement and everything. So yeah, I'm back now. Hello. Anyway, weekly stuff. Weapon Supercharger is available this week. If you want to make your weapon stronger, there you go. Dungeons Daily is Labyrinth, which is great for tickets, gold, and Battle Pass XP. But more important is down here, Cram Session. All this stuff is nice. Drops of rain and XP is whatever. But the gold, you guys know, safe cracking. I'm going to be beating this drum for the next 3 weeks until the end of the season. Safe cracking is nuts. If you go to Inferno, there are other ways to do this, but Inferno was my most comfortable one to break down easily into this video. I'll link it down below. You can consistently get 3 safes every single run. And if you run that Inferno mission 10 times, you're going to get like 100-ish gold per. And the quest of safe cracking in total, all 10 of these, totals up to 9,000 gold. So you can get about 10,000 gold, if not more, if you're breaking urns, in about 10 missions, which is really quick. You could probably do that in an hour. I did 2 hours in my thumbnail as like an anti-clickbait. You could get it done in an hour if you load quick and go fast. So yeah, it's very, very good. Very, very important to go and do Cram Session. People Llamas are available today. Nothing terribly exciting, but you might get something good out of there. Comment down below if that describes you. Stare Down Southie is the event shop hero. This actually got buffed in that update forever ago where they buffed a bunch of heroes, and now he does more damage. Or maybe he fires faster. It might have been both. I don't remember. It's not a super strong hero, but it's kind of nice to have. The Axle is a fairly unimpressive weapon in terms of performance as far as I'm aware, but it's here. And Flux, you guys know, we're always excited about this. I always recommend buying the 50 Flux every single week anyway, because the strength of researching weapons and heroes with Flux is kind of amazing. The amount of heroes and the specific heroes and weapons you can get from Flux is basically as good as spending a voucher. They're not interchangeable, but the pool of heroes and weapons available are very good. So getting 225 Flux is really nice, and I'm excited for everybody who needs that because Flux is kind of awesome. So yeah, that's the weekly stuff. Let's get into the missions, and yeah, make sure to grab that Flux. That is well worth your gold in my opinion. Let me get my notes up available over here. Thank you to the high level player here, you know, Kieran. Tomatech just likes to be here, you know, he can be here, but Kieran, appreciate it for the higher levels. 4x reperk in the 34-4 player in Ventures, double legendary in the 46 zone. Neither of these weapons are exceptional, but they're good to recycle for weapon designs. Another same story in the 46 zone, except the vacuum tube axe is pretty good with that chain lightning. mining, you're welcome to use it. Keep a copy of it. You know the drill. Double legendary is always worth considering if you're gaming. 4x drops the rain in the 58 4-player, or maybe you weren't gonna grind ventures today, but there are some solid missions in your range. Gas trap, great ceiling trap in the 58 zone, and I'm gonna go quick on explanations today because there's a lot to get through already, and we're already over 10 minutes. Neon Scythe is a mediocre melee in the 70 zone. Trash Cannon was my example earlier because it's quite strong. That actually does a really good job and it's cost effective. Ceiling Electric Field is an excellent ceiling trap, excellent range, 3x3 area, 2 tiles high. It could be energy, it could be nature. I like it a lot. Always recommending that one and using it in my missions myself. And then in the 94 zone over, am I skipping it? There we go. Double legendary. Wall Spikes is a pretty decent wall trap, believe it or not. And the Ranger, my personal favorite AR. I like it a lot. It's not the best, strongest AR, I just like it. 4x reperk in the 124 4-player mission, and that might just be it for ventures. So yeah, thank you again to these guys for joining. I do appreciate the help. Otherwise, I am not able to show all of ventures. Oh, I did miss one. One of our 2 upgrade llama tokens is in ventures in the 94 resupply. So one of 3 actually. So go ahead and grab that. I'm sorry I missed it before I packed out of my own lobby. I am getting distracted by an itch on my arm. So there we go. What am I looking for here? 82 right over here. Upgrade llama token number 2 out of 3 is available in the 82 zone in Twine. Ranger again in the 88 zone. Still my favorite AR. That has not changed in the last minute. Then I want to mention the double legendary over here. Husk Stomper and Forceful Slugger are both crit hits cause an explosion melees that are very fun to use. Then we got the Viper, decent SMG. Vacuum Tube Sword, chain landing on that is S tier. That thing is very good. 4x Eye of the Storm in the 108 4-player mission. Then we got another double legendary. Neither of these weapons are exceptional in my opinion, though you're welcome to try them out or recycle them for weapon designs. Keep them for your collection. Put them in the collection book, whatever you want to do. 4x reperk in the 124 4-player missions. And I want to make sure I'm not missing anything. There we go. 132 zone. Neither of these weapons are S tier, but the Zap Zap shoots a large ball of energy that does a lot of damage to a lot of enemies. It's kind of like a pocket launcher. It's better than you might think. 4x reperk in the 132 4-player mission. Then we got the legendary survivor 1 of 1 in the 140 evac, and 4x drops the rain alongside that. 4x drops the rain and 369 reperk, nice, in the 140 zone, and another 369 reperk, which is nice. Then the 160s are fine. 5x reperk, easy modifiers, repair the shelters, not too bad. Tar pit's really good for stopping enemies in their tracks, including smashers mid-charge. But if you're getting this in the end game, you probably already have it. Anyway, 5x Eye of the Storm in the 164 player. Highly recommend a melee in that one. I would use the Stormblade. The crit hits, those explosions, they're so satisfying. Upgrade llama token number 3 out of 3 is in the 46 zone in Canny. Then we got a double legendary down here. Husk Stomper once again. Deathstalker is pretty not great. You're welcome to try it, but that AR has disappointed me severely. So yeah. Then the Ranger once again in the 64 zone. Still my favorite AR. Hasn't changed. I'll keep you guys updated as we go. And then double legendary in the 70 zone. Ceiling drop trap is probably the best ceiling trap, or trap in general in the entire game. Because of the directionality and the stalling, you can face where you don't want the enemies to go, and it'll stagger them towards your back. It's extremely effective, and I highly recommend it 2 or 3 tiles up, so it's safe and away from propanes. And then the old Smoky is a pretty good shotgun. It doesn't do a ridiculous amount of damage, but it pierces everything in front of you, and it has a very short range. So it's kind of a nice run up into their face crowd clearing shotgun. Otherwise, I don't typically recommend it. I have no notes for Plankerton, but in Stonewood, we've got 4x drops of rain. Woo! Lots to cover. Hope you guys enjoyed. I'll see you guys tomorrow. Subscribe, like the video, use code Mista. It might be a late daily. I don't remember what I'm doing tomorrow. Oh yeah, that'll be fun. Okay, I might be late tomorrow, but I'll try. Okay.